Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. Welcome back, or welcome if you've never been here before. Today I kind of want to do, a seasonally themed vlog. I'm really excited because there are places that I want to go, things that I want to do, and I'm kind of already in a book, which is why I'm starting this now. I usually start out with like a set TBR, things that I know that I want to read, but I'm not sure what I'm going to be picking up in this vlog. Of course, you're going to see as we go along the way. I am reading a novella a day as well, so I'll just pick them with you. But we got to talk about Ghost by Cat Blackthorne. I have gotten into this and it really is surprising me. It's giving me all of the freaking Halloween vibes. And I think it sounds strange for me to call it cozy, but it just isn't what I expected it to be, okay? I would have been fine, honestly, if it was just like a Halloween spicy why choose kind of romp, but it really is turning into more and I'm very excited about it. This is following Blythe, and she's living this sort of nomadic lifestyle on the run, from her demons, so to speak. And she has started over in a town called Ash Grove. And I mean, Halloween is it in this town. They celebrate all month. It's bigger than Christmas. And I just love that for the first time, she's starting to feel like she's at home. And she runs into one of our heroes, because so far there are three. There is a fourth character, yet he hasn't been on the page much, but I'm not that far along. I think I'm like 15% the way in, and I'm already kind of getting the feels. She is a woman that seeks out therapy in every single town that she is visiting, and so she ends up getting a male therapist on this day, Ghost, who is posing. And he is very intrigued by her fear and by her pain. And he is also a member of the Halloween Boys, along with Onyx and Wolf, his two friends. They are all paranormal entities. And obviously Wolf is a shifter, but it's kind of being kept a mystery as to like what Ghost is. You just know that they have this camaraderie that's lasted across eons, and that they can't really assuage their urges to, kill, take souls until Halloween. And so they meet up and find interesting ways to do it. And one of those ways, is just playing with humans. And he thinks that Blythe is going to be the perfect candidate for this. So he chooses her to be their next abduction. And yet, very quickly, this is turning into a who hurt you, touch her and I'll kill you type of situation. And they just want to protect her. So I'm just like very intrigued. I want to know what she's running from, just like a Ghost, okay, and Onyx and Wolf do. I want to know also what's intriguing them to her, because it seems like it's something else. Like I'm already getting the feeling that it's more. This town is freaking mysterious and it is very cool. They have a sort of like rave situation every single night of October leading up to Hallows Eve, and on these nights people dress up, it's themed, and I'm starting to feel like maybe they aren't costumes. I picked this up because I knew that there were going to be all kinds of creatures, even pirates, and so I just think that this is hitting more notes in terms of it being like heartwarming, like I said, cozy than I was expecting, because she's starting to feel like this place is home, and it's becoming harder to get the courage to leave when she knows she will inevitably have to. And so I am intrigued. Okay, it's giving me all of the freaking vibes and I love that. And there are some things I want to do today. We'll see. There's definitely a coffee shop that I want to check out. I mean, it's been on my list. When I first moved here, there were like a bunch of places that I wanted to go to and things that I wanted to see. And I made like a pact with myself that I would go and do those things, whether I had somebody to go with or not. So we're going to knock one of those off of my list. I'm going to take you with me, and I'll be back when I have more thoughts. I will definitely be finishing this today. It's a thick one though. She's like 500 pages, but we're going to get into it. I'll see you soon. was in there a lot longer than I anticipated, but I'm really enjoying Ghost. I like how she is falling in love with this town and finally wants to be settled because of her new men, or really the group, and the shift that happened where they just want to protect her. I was not expecting that, and that's being further developed. And also this like element that I really need in a wide shoes or reverse harem. I really stopped picking them up. And it wasn't until Crowned, which was the second in Lilith Vincent's duet after Pageant, where I realized that, like, if there isn't going to be sword crossing and it isn't a polyamorous romance, if I am in a reverse harem, I need to feel like the heroes have some sort of connection and relationship between each other, because I want to emulate that sense that each character is an integral part of the whole. And so in this one, the fact that they are all bound to this town for reasons, and they've been struggling to sort of assuage their needs together until they can like fully unleash themselves only in the Halloween spooky season. The fact that they've survived like that as a group. Sorry, my headphones are falling down. I like that they're a unit in that way and that they have a shorthand. There is a little bit of jealousy going on, and we have had like an MM moment, okay, that I thoroughly enjoyed, but it has all of the Halloween vibes. You know, the fact that they have this like nightly party every single day of October up until Halloween, and the vignettes of the different creatures and groups that we get. I'm loving it. Okay, there are a lot of twists and turns and reveals as to the makeup of this town, which I'm like really enjoying, and I'm almost finished. So I'll probably be back after like I figure out, let's see. I know my spooky novella of the day because I've been posting them every day. I want to pick that or tell you what I picked out. I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, you already know. I picked Ivy's Poison by India R. Adams. So I'm excited about that because that's supposed to be like MC, captor, captive. Yet I think she's the captor. We'll see. And then, yeah, that's all I know at this point. I think I'm going to finish this. I know I want to go to the Bellagio's Conservatory. You know I'm obsessed with that if you've been watching my vlogs. So I want to check that out. And then I should be able to get a novella in. My headphones are falling out. It's time to go. I'll be back when I have more read. Editing me here, booting you into the future by way of Pixie Magic. I forgot to wrap up Ghost. Thanks, girl. And Ivy's Poison. So I want to do that here before she boots you back. I love playing around with these effects. Anyway, I feel like I was repeating myself, but this really was it in terms of a Halloween read. I ended up rating it 4 stars. I loved the paranormal edge to what was hunting her down and how she didn't find herself in this small town by accident. The reveals on this, they were just a lot of fun. They were definitely fated, the Halloween boys, to be her mates and protectors, and I loved that. I like where it landed in terms of how they were doing life together as, you know, a quad, and also the reveals on how she didn't accidentally land in this small town. It had a note of loss and letting go, grief that I really enjoyed. The lore of the town was really compelling, and I'm excited about the next book because there's going to be another character added to this happy quad, and I think it's going to be a road trip romance, so I'm sold. I had a ton of fun reading this. I also read Ivy's Poison, which was a miss for me. It was 2 stars. If I rate something 3 stars, it's because I still think that you should pick it up, even though I had a few issues with it. With this one, I just felt like the characters, and I hate to say it, were like caricatures of archetypes. The heroine is really poised as this siren that's toxic and bites back. And, you know, he's the bad boy, lethal with a rough exterior. And he's sort of like lassoed in by her feminine wiles, but it was just insta lusty. That's all I really got from the connection. It's this hot and heavy one night stand of hate steam. And when they meet again, we learn that she is the daughter of an MC president, and her father is taking him captive, our hero, for killing their VP. And she is also the MC prostitute. I don't really enjoy depictions of MCs that are demoralizing to women, that have a crude and crass lens through which they see them. I think that it's lazy. It's just surface level and topical, and I need some nuance. And this is also Surprise Baby, where I felt like we were just told everything and really not shown. Somehow he just knew all of the secrets that she was keeping. I thought that this was gonna work for me because it was captive that placed the hero in a position to sort of toy with him, and she is used in that way, but I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't buying it. Like I said, their connection was just less heavy. I didn't really enjoy the MC at all. I didn't feel like I was even shown that she was this badass. It just felt like, you know, she had a golden coochie. So it's okay, they're not all gonna be wins, but I thought I'd report to you how I felt about those last two reads, and I'm gonna boot you back. Fill you in because I have read my novella of the day and made my way through my next read. And I'm so glad that I picked up Haven by Claire Kent. I got this recommendation from Rachel Reads and Sings, and just also Claire Kent as an author in general from Jen. Since I read A Wilderness Within, I believe that was Emma Castle, because this is a survival romance and it's set in a post-apocalyptic world where an asteroid has hit Earth. I mean, the dismantling of government, the environment, it's a wasteland. People are scavenging. And Faith and Jackson are the leaders of and also sort of run a farm. This is a farm that Faith grew up on. Her parents were already living this sort of like retreatist lifestyle. And so her and Jackson have this really interesting relationship. He was taken in by her parents when he was a troubled youth. And so they grew up together, and they also run this farm together. They have this sort of shorthand of survival. He's a grump, stern, but you know that he cares about her. And it's funny because it seems like it's all business between them. Yet we learn fairly quickly that at night they sort of have a physical relationship with one another. It's sparing. It's sort of like seems like a moment to like get the edge off between them in the beginning, and yet it is so much more. This is action packed. It definitely falls into that category of being short that's packing a lot of story. The stakes are so high, and I just felt like I understood why Jackson was so stern, because he cares about her safety and also the risks that she takes in terms of the survival, why she's making them. It was just so freaking good. And watching Jackson sort of like open up slowly in terms of emotions and the reveals on that, and also how Faith decides like she wants this life to go, because at every freaking corner, every single day is a challenge for them. And I like how even in the moments in the beginning when we learn that they're meeting up with each other physically, how that's just representative of them just gleaning what they can out of this gloom and doom situation. And I just love the stakes in this. I loved their connection. I love the decorations that we sort of get in the end. And I love how every moment sort of feels like their last. And so when we get that softening of Jackson, it's just really swoony. I'm gonna stop there, but it was a 5-star novella. I absolutely loved it. I'm telling you, it is packing so much story. Anyway, then I picked up Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. I had to like stop and check the author. I know you're gonna see it, but I always want to make sure I'm getting it right. This is a thriller. I was just in that kind of mood, and this one intrigued me because we are following 4 women in their 60s that have been top level assassins for the past 40 years, and now they're retiring. And I know going in that at some point they're going to be going after the council or the museum, which is the name of the organization that they've been working for. And so we meet them when they're on an all expenses paid cruise that's supposed to be a part of their sort of severance package. And while on this cruise, they realize that they might be a mark. They've been in the game for a while, so they know the tells. And I like that we are really going through this story through the lens of Billy. Billy is the one of the group who never sacrificed anything for the job. It's what she's done, it's what she's good at, and now that it's going to be gone. I really enjoyed the sort of like film noir feel that this kind of started out with, in where she had this sort of like jaded, hyper vigilant description of everything around her that really like drew me in as a reader. And I also enjoyed how this opens up with giving you a clear picture of what they had to deal with as women in the 70s, okay, while they were undercover, and also why that made them perfect for the job. This does have flashbacks where we're in the present storyline and we're flashing back into how they became who they are today. And just seeing the different viewpoints of them make me feel like it's gonna be interesting as I see them work together. And it's just like, oh, they still got it already. And just the way that they are approaching certain things and the choices that they're making, I am just like on board and ready to go. Right now, at this point, they're trying to figure out, why are they a freaking mark? Why are they being taken out? How are they going to tackle this situation? And now they got to go off the grid. So I'm intrigued. I'm ready. I'm fascinated as well. And so I hope it's a good story. I haven't read a thriller since Shiver. I think I have it somewhere around here. Oh yes, because I rearranged my shelves. Shiver by Lisa Jackson. And that was just okay. So I'm hoping that this is better, and I will be back when I have more thoughts. Bye. As soon as I turn the camera on, I'm yawning. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I had a great night and I stayed up, okay, finishing Killers of a Certain Age. And I really hope this means I'm getting tired, because it is going into it's morning. Let's just keep it real. And I have work today, so. But anyway, I think I'm gonna rate this 3.5 overall. I'm trying to see, clean this up here. That was a good yawn. Because I really enjoyed the comedic elements in this. I think that it brought a lot of levity to some of the heavier moments, and comedy is really in the physicality of the action. I mean, they are in their 60s and that is not ignored, and I loved that. Also in how they really work smarter as opposed to harder when it comes to the kills, them taking out their targets before they are taken out. I loved the mechanics of that, and also how this wasn't like gory, you know? It's really about their friendships, the erasure of women as they age, reflecting on what is a life well lived, and also like establishing and like remembering that it's not over. Like, it isn't over at freaking 60. I loved it. I loved their freaking skill sets. I love how they work together. And I also loved the really like dry wit in this. And I will say, I'm gonna read a 3.5 because there were a few like scenes there that I think could have been cut just because it put a lull in the pacing. Also, stylistically, there were a couple things that seemed like out of place, but the ending was full freaking throttle. I also liked seeing what Billy had sacrificed in the pursuit of her job, which is something that she loved. She wasn't willing to give up. And so we kind of get to see like, you know, a path that she could have taken. And I just really liked, I really liked this like story about freaking 4 women, mature characters, and how they were still had it. Like, it was good. This really should be a film. It did give me RED vibes, and I was here for it. So 3.5, future message to editing self to pick up your next thriller, because I had fun with this. And so now I think I want to read a romantic suspense. So I'm gonna go with Tina Saxon because this is a book that I got when I was at Wanderlust, and I'm kind of intrigued by it because of this like island setting, and I'm hoping, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, there are mysteries that have to do with this island. Like, I read the back and I was like, I just did not understand like how she says, I'm the girl from the island and I was found dead 24 years ago. I don't know what that's about. So I want to pick this up. I hope it hits, okay? If it doesn't, I guess I won't be too upset about it because I still have like Wander's freaking autograph in this. So either way, we will see. I will be back when I have either some or all of this read. My coworkers did not tell me that I looked this greasy. I feel like I need to blot my face. Anyway, I finished, okay, and I did talk about this on Instagram earlier, so I'm going to recap and wrap it up. But I will preface this by saying I'm going to rate this 2 stars. I feel a little harsh, but for me to rate this 3 stars would mean that I would still recommend it. Typically 3 stars for me is, you know, a book that I had issues with, but I still think others would enjoy, and I do not feel comfortable recommending this book. I mean, it started off giving me Blue Crush vibes. It really did, the film, you know, it was that without the surfing, because it had vacation vibes. Our hero is a football player who took the rap for some marijuana, so he's in a bit of heat, okay, and he's hiding out in Tahiti at this very luxurious resort, and he becomes smitten with the heroine who's cleaning out his room and takes a peek, okay, while he's sleeping naked. And she's very interesting because she grew up on this island, been there her whole life. She's made a few mistakes within her love life and is now, you know, swearing off tourist candy. She doesn't want to be part of the island experience anymore. And yet there's a draw between them. And he pays her to be his tour guide. And of course, romance ensues. But to me, it felt like just really insta-lovey. And I kept feeling like it was reading like a normal contemporary. Like, I knew that the twist had to be coming. And so halfway through, I was really intrigued because things aren't really adding up in terms of her reputation on this island outside of her being, you know, formerly promiscuous. So some of the mystery centered around her father and where he's truly from, since he's not from the island. You know, all she's ever wanted was to be loved, and she was toyed around by all of these men that were just in town for vacation, always believing that they would ask her to come with them. And finally she goes to the city with him, and there are just things that like didn't add up. Like she didn't know how a cell phone worked, and the twist did gobsmack me, but I just felt like that reveal came a lot sooner in terms of pacing, which led me to believe there really wasn't any conflict between them. So when the third act inevitability came, or I just felt like it should have been inevitable, and she just it just came out of nowhere. Like, I just was, this is lackluster. I have to be honest. Like, I was intrigued by the vacation vibes, and like I said, the twist was, it was interesting, but it didn't really grip me. And I kind of felt like after that came out and it was revealed, I was over it. It didn't feel romantic. It felt like he, as a character, was at the point in his life where he was just ready, and he could have fallen for any beautiful woman that his eyes landed on. The George Clooney effect. I mean, George Clooney was finally ready, and his wife was, I don't know, raised into formation. I'm sorry. I just love them. Anyway, so it just felt like insta lusty, trying to get me to buy the love, and the high stakes of who she was or the big reveal. It was a lot more character driven. It felt like this was really like her story as opposed to their story. It was interesting, but it didn't really grip me. So, very long-winded explanation as to why I'm giving this 2 stars. I really wanted it to hit. I do have another book by her that I am going to read at some point, but I'm not like really eager to pick it up soon. So I think after this, I really just need a freaking sure thing. And so I believe The Devil of Dublin by B.B. Easton. It's a mafia romance. I remember Christy from Christy Reads a Lot talking about that. So I think I'm just going to pick that up. Like, I need something to hit. So I will be back when I get further into that. See you soon. So I definitely meant to update along the way, but I finished Devil of Dublin. I mean, I could have come to you in the morning, but I decided to go on Instagram instead. So if you aren't following me on there, I mean, shameless plug. Sometimes I just need to get it out, which is like really selfish. So I will go on there. And I've been doing that as I've been going through this vlog. So I'm just gonna wrap this book up and try not to give too much away right off the bat. I rated this 4 stars. There were moments of this and aspects of this that I absolutely loved, that just moved me. And I also had some issues with it. So we'll get into that. But I just loved how like the first part of this book just gave me A Scoundrel of Her Own by Stacey Reid vibes, and how they met as children. Darby goes to Ireland with her mother to stay with her grandfather for the summer, and just her childlike wonder of the Irish folklore, and how her grandfather is really like facilitating her being able to be an actual kid and play, and just her whimsy and jovial nature, and how she's out in the woods and she meets Kellen, who is this troubled and silenced, he doesn't speak, abused child, and also how she doesn't see him that way at all. She thinks that he's a fairy, and just absolutely striking. And I just loved the moments between them as kids, because Darby is so full of life and excitement and intrigue and interest and intention pointed all towards him, things that he's never experienced. We learn that he is abused and that he is living in this horrible situation with the local priest. There are trigger warnings for child abuse and molestation. The abuse descriptively depicted on the page, the molestation alluded to but just her spirit and care for him, concern, is just earth-shattering. And I loved just the depiction of their connection, because it felt faded as kids, and also just like their disparate backgrounds, and yet they have this connection. I loved the way in which that happened. It just like the glow and her warmth. I aim to be a pixie woman and like bring that glow, you know, to others, because it's really hard for me to produce that for myself at times. So I just loved the whimsy of that in the beginning, and also how there's some separation between them growing up over the course of the summers, where she comes back to Ireland, and some summers she's made it and some she didn't, and how he grows up to be a hitman for the Irish mob, vowing to never be in fear or abused like that again, and to be the terrorizer himself. And the second half of this book definitely felt different, where Darby is back for reasons. I guess I could reveal those, but I won't. And he sort of saves her from a situation. She returns with her own sexual trauma and an abusive relationship. And so it turns into an on the road, on the run type of romance, where he is willing to leave the mob and start anew with her. Now, what did not work for me, okay, in this book was her naivete when it came to what he actually did. And the reason why it didn't work for me is that at this point, unlike when they were children, where she couldn't see his abuse, of course it didn't make sense to her. Whereas as an adult, Darby being a woman that has endured trauma carried out by men, her not being situationally aware and keying into certain elements and just sort of being blinded by their connection and love didn't work for me, especially being that she plays a large part in the third act and the sort of buttoning up of their situation that didn't track for me. Her arc that was well established in terms of her sense of self which was an element that I absolutely enjoyed, because the steam for me in this book sang because it was them both working through their sexual trauma and having to communicate, and it just felt poignant between them. I just loved the steam in this book because they really had to work. And it just felt like counter to than other things that I have read, and I really liked the notes that were hit within the steam in this book. The plot, as we started getting into the sort of like on the run and road trip part, I didn't really care for as much. And again, like I said, her like naivete in certain areas I wasn't really buying. But overall, like I was moved by so many moments in this book, and I really enjoyed it. And I really like needed to cap this off with like a home run. Like I loved the romance in this book. It did not feel very mafia to me. It felt like it was about them, and I enjoyed that aspect. So I'm definitely rating it 4 stars. And like I said, I'm really glad that I picked it up. I'm actually really glad that I continued to do this vlog. It has helped me because I have, quite frankly, just felt really low this month. I mean, like all of my energy has gone to like the other areas of my life, and I just have felt tapped out. Like I do struggle with depression, and I just feel like I've been rocked this month. Like this vlog and like reading a novella a day has been really helpful in terms of like me keeping momentum, so that I'm just not like stagnant. Thankfully, I've been able to still read. But as far as like, I'm sure when you're seeing this, like my September wrap up isn't up. I just feel like you're never gonna get a video of me filming when I'm not feeling it. That's probably horrible for engagement, but it's great for my mental health. And so it's gonna take me a while to get things together. I still have like a clip for my September wrap up to do. I just feel like the way that I ended that month, like those reads are owed me not being up for 38 hours and just like in a funk. And so I want to come at that in a different way when I can. Thankfully, I have been updating you on my October reads because I've had like what, 15 before this vlog. So when I get around to editing it, because like I said, I've just been tapped out. I used to be able to come home and like edit and like get her done, and I just haven't had the energy for it. And so like I said, I'm really grateful for this vlog because I didn't cancel the things that I wanted to do and go see. And I really think if I hadn't been doing a vlog, I might have done that. So thank you for watching and being here. Hopefully when you see this, I will have made good on the little pact that I made with myself to at least be present on Instagram, because I could feel it, like it hit. And I was like, you know what, let's get into this vlog and use it as a tool. And so I think that that was successful. I just don't know when you're gonna see it. So if you are seeing this, that means I'm feeling a little better, and the September wrap up is coming up next, and my October, you know, update. Don't know what I'm gonna call it because I probably won't make mid-month, but I do want to thank you for being here. If, you know, you have a friend out there that you might want to check in on, do that. You know, I am sharing this too because I remember watching a video from Books with Samantha, and she said like just real like quickly and succinctly like that was hard for her to fake the fun when it came to like filming. And I just felt really validated when I heard that. So I would like to like share what I'm going through and be transparent here for anybody who else might not be feeling great. And it's crazy for me because I always want to like point to something externally when, you know, at this point in my life, it's absolutely incredible. And it's in large part due to you. This community just continues to save me in ways that I cannot anticipate. And so one thing I'm really grateful for is that I'm not in a reading slump. Like I've been picking up books. I mean, really like hiding and just like reveling in them, just freaking gleaning. And so, I don't know, reach out to a friend, just check in on them. Know that you're not alone if you don't feel great, and that there doesn't have to be a reason, you know, and there is a solution, and it's not gonna last forever. That is what I'm hoping for. I'm trying to play games with myself, and so this is a very long-winded outro. I know. I think I'm just like word vomiting, and hopefully I don't edit it out. So, but I do want to thank you for joining me, and please consider subscribing and sticking around for the undulations of life over here, okay? And I really hope to see you in the next one. So thank you.